In this video, you're gonna learn if veganism is the right idea if you're thinking about getting very old. Hint, it is. And that's really the end of the video. Just kidding. I'm gonna share with you everything that I've learned from now being more than or close to a decade in the fitness industry, really obsessing about the topic of health and fitness, reading hundreds of books and spending about $50,000 on my personal education. In this video, we're gonna be specifically touching base on the global burden of disease study and on the research on blue zones. That might sound a little bit complicated, but don't worry, we keep it as simple as possible so you can learn how to get very old and therefore spend that extra time that you have available with your family or just live your best life. So are you ready? Let's just jump right into it. Before we touch base on aging, I think it's important to make this one thing super clear. Your genetics alone do not determine how long you live. Now, this obviously does not come from first-hand experience. As you can see, I'm still a young grasshopper, but the science clearly points in the direction that your environment and that your lifestyle plays a bigger role than we originally thought. As is written in the article, Balancing Lifestyle and Genomics Research for Disease Prevention, for most leading causes of death, genetics only account for 10 to 20% of the total risk. Or as Caldwell Esselstyn put it beautifully, genetics load the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. Meaning there's plenty of things that we can do to reduce the effects of aging. But what is aging exactly? Let's take a look at the definition. The process of changing the properties of a material occurring over a period, either spontaneously or through deliberate action. Oh damn, that's the definition of aging when it comes to wine. But I thought this would fit well, because you're like a fine wine. You get better with age. Now let's look at the definition when it comes to biology. Biology, by the way, is composed of two words. Bios is Greek for life, and logia, I'm not sure how you pronounce this, is Greek for study. So it's the study of life. The definition of aging in biology is the process of growing old. Now that doesn't tell us much, does it? So let's look at the definition of old. No longer young. Great. The opposite of young. What a revelation. So let's look at the definition of young. Not as old as the norm. So the opposite of old. Yes, we are really going in circles here. The explanation of the WHO, the World Health Organization, really tells us more. At the biological level, aging results from the impact of the accumulation of a wide variety of molecular and cellular damage over time. This leads to a gradual decrease in physical and mental capacity, a growing risk of disease, and ultimately death. That is an amazing definition because it shows us why most of us really want to avoid aging. Because we want to avoid three things. Number one, a physical and mental decline. Number two, disease. And number three, death. So here's three strategies to get very old and prevent the negative effects of aging. Number one, how to avoid physical and mental decline. What we really want to avoid here is we want to avoid becoming dependent. We want to avoid becoming a burden to the people around us. And to avoid becoming a burden, we really have to avoid physical and mental decline. Now, physical decline is largely due to disability. So we're going to be touching upon this in the next point. In this point, let's touch base on how to avoid mental decline. So why do we decline mentally? Why do older people suffer from memory problems, confusion, and lose the ability to do everyday tasks? Mental decline develops, as proposed by some researchers, by the accumulation of silent strokes. Strokes are like small roadblocks in your arteries that prevent blood flow, and silent here just means that you don't really notice them. They're silent, so they're kind of like ninja strokes. That's a better word. So you have strokes which kill off a big part of your brain and they can lead to death and you certainly notice them. And then you have silent strokes which can accumulate over time and the damage is really from the accumulation part. Quote, sometimes the blood clot lasts only a moment, not long enough to notice but still long enough to kill off a tiny portion of your brain. These so-called silent strokes can multiply and slowly reduce cognitive function and full-blown dementia develops. And the bad news, or maybe the good news, is that there's a very strong link between dementia and the food that we consume. Quote, the lowest validated rates of Alzheimer's disease, which is a disease that can cause dementia, but it's not the same thing, in the world are found in rural India, where people eat traditional plant-based diets centered on grains and vegetables. In the United States, those who don't eat meat, including poultry and fish, appear to cut their risk of developing dementia in half. So a plant-based diet or a vegan diet may prevent Alzheimer's and dementia by reducing the arterial blockage in your brain. The second strategy to get very old is really to avoid disease and disability, next to mental decline. According to the Global Burden of Disease study, which is a massive study with over 3,600 researchers from 145 countries, the top 10 leading causes of disability were heart disease, lung disease, low back pain, lung cancer, depression, musculoskeletal issues, stroke, diabetes, traffic accidents, and drug abuse. And the main risk factors for increased disability were, you guessed it, nutrition, which has a higher impact than smoking. Now, this doesn't mean that smoking is less dangerous than nutrition. It's just that bad nutrition is more likely to be more widespread than smoking. In smoking, the dangers are super clear. In nutrition, not really. For the people that watch videos like this, the link there is clear, so smash the like button. So would a vegan diet help with reducing the risk of disability as well? Yes, there's a very strong link in the Global Burden of Disease study again between fruits and vegetable consumption and decreased risk of disability. So the consumption of fruits and vegetables is naturally higher in a plant-based diet, in a diet based on plants. Number 3, how to avoid death, which is the third negative effect of aging. Now it gets really tough. Look, avoiding death without massive technological advancements seems to be simply not possible because it is a very crucial part in the evolutionary process. That is just a simple fact to prove because look, everything around us is dying. Trillions of living beings have died before us and trillions of living beings will die after us unless we solve that issue with technology. So no matter how good care you take of your body over a sufficient long period of time, the probability of you dying is 100%. What lifestyle can do, though, according to the research on blue zones, is adding a good 10 to 20 extra years to your lifespan. And those 20 years, if you turn out to live up to 100, can be 1/5 of your total life. So that is quite massive. In that 1/5 of your life, you can see your grandchildren grow up. You can travel the world or you can maybe start another business. So there's plenty of time. And plenty of things to do in 20 years. And what is one of the key things to add those 10 to 20 years to your life? As the researchers of the Blue Zones note, eating a plant-based diet with only small amounts of dairy or fish. So here, a vegan diet can help as well. Conclusion. Getting very old is not solely determined by your genetics. In fact, when it comes to leading causes of death, your genetics only play a very minor role. So increasing your lifespan is a goal that is possible and is truly something that you should strive for. I mean, there's really no reason not to live any longer. You can spend more time with your family, you can live your best life, you can travel, you can start a new business. I mean, it's great. And veganism can help reduce progression of aging and therefore reduce the risk of the negative sides of aging, which are number 1, mental decline. There's a reduced risk of that in a vegan diet. Number 2, there's a reduced risk of disability due to increased fruits and vegetable intake. And number 3, there's a reduced risk of dying due to the beneficial effects of a plant-based diet when it comes to the research on blue zones. So if you like this video, don't forget to smash the like button. If you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I make videos about veganism, fitness and personal growth. And if you want to get coached by me, I help vegans get in the best shape of their life, again in a very healthy, effective and sustainable way. So longevity and making sure that everything we do is super healthy and sustainable is a key component of what we're doing. So if you want to get in the best shape of your life and you're a vegan or you're thinking about transitioning to veganism in the future, you should click the link below in the description or in the first comment to schedule a free call with me. That's a one-on-one call with me where we touch base on your current situation, then I point you in the right direction, and if it makes sense, we can touch base on you joining my private coaching program. Regardless if you decide to go for my coaching program or not, at the end of the call, these 60 minutes that we spend together will be the best 60 minutes that you spend working on your health and fitness this year. So click the link below in the description or in the first comment to schedule your free call. Talk to you soon or see you next time.